All right, let's get started. Welcome to our webinar on CentralReach's next generation APIs. We'll be discussing CentralReach's connectivity framework, reporting as a service, integrations, and next generation public APIs. Let's make some introductions. Clark Convery, our Chief Operating Officer, will be your host today. And in the Q&A chat, I'm Amber Ledesma from our customer success team.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Thanks, Amber. So thanks, everybody, for joining us morning or beginning of your afternoon, depending where you are. And if you're out on another island out in Europe, afternoon to you. The agenda for today, we're just going to run through the framework that we have around connectivity with the CentralReach system. We'll talk a little bit in depth around the next gen APIs, what's existing, a couple business scenarios that it's currently solving. We'll give you a sneak peek of the forward looking roadmap of what's coming next. And then we'll have just a quick wrap up at the end with a little Q&A and then a little public service announcements around some items that are coming soon that you may want to register for coffee or other things with us in live sessions. So just to get started on the connectivity framework overall. So as we were taking a step back and thinking about how important it is for an application like CentralReach to integrate to all of the ecosystem, all the things that are interoperating within the data that lives within CentralReach or getting data from out. How did we define that complexity and curve for everyone out there? We took a look at, on the left-hand axis here, you're going to see some complexity of automation, right? Low automation to high automation on the bottom, end user through developer. And each of these boxes that you'll see, we have things called reporting as a service, integrations, and then your next gen APIs. Reporting as a service is probably what mainly your users are integrating with on a daily basis, right? They're going into the system, they're pulling down some standard reports. Maybe they're using our advanced insights tool, advanced business intelligence, to pull out some deeper dive information into departmental areas, RCM areas, clinical type information. Then as you move up and to the right, you start to see these integrations, our data warehouse, right? So a large number of our customers integrate directly with our data warehouse to pull down a large amounts of data, or flat file importing. Generally used if there's an acquisition, you want to import additional employees, bring in learners, scenarios like that. And then also timesheet reporting, which runs through your payroll type system of whether you're weekly, bi-weekly, monthly payroll cycles, you're going to pull down your timesheets to bring out of the system. And then overall custom reports that can be extracted from the system at any time. Generally speaking, some of those things will be automated, but they're done in batch scenarios. So the difference between the integration piece is they're point-in-time pulls of information at a scheduled event or a one-time push of a button. And then into the upper right-hand corner where you have the high automation, and generally speaking, developers building out that. So someone who's got the ability to do programmatic integration between systems and technology infrastructure. You have our next generation APIs, which we're going to go deeper into detail today around those. But those really touch on how to move things around when a transaction happens. Quick, fast. This happened. We need to move this from point A to point B and move that data quickly so both systems are in sync immediately over time. So as we go down, we took a look at each of these areas for the next gen APIs and started with reporting as a service, integrations, and next gen APIs, and looked about what does that framework look like when you break it down to the next level. This is our take on the periodic elements chart of where they're all coming from. So you have the front office and the back office scenarios of client management, employee management, and then your financials, your ERP type scenarios of getting out financial accounting information out of the system. Then as you shift to the right there, you'll see clinical support, electronic visitation verification, assessment management, and pulling data in and out of those systems, moving over client engagement, managing with the client, the caregiver, notifications, appointment scenarios. And then to the furthest to the right, you have these process automations and user authentication. each of these scenarios, we're looking at them and saying, how do we cover the application in each of these general business workflows? As an example here, you may need to be pulling out data on a monthly event for your ERP to close out your accounting periods. How do we give that data out of the system in a fashion that is easy, simple, and programmatic? So, Clark every day doesn't have to log in and pull that down and remember to do that. That just happens on a repeatable automation level. So as we talk further into the roadmap, we'll talk more about how we're trying to cover each of these periodic element spots to cover the entire application to establish all of that connectivity for you. So as we talk about those next gen APIs, I apologize, I'm not sure how I move this off. Just gonna slide that off. Those next gen APIs, what is happening what is currently set in this system along the way? We started out working as polling our customers of what are those areas that are most important? What are those things that are most time consuming, that take people away from doing more people specific things and do kind of data entry and drive those things. So the first scenario that we established in there was client management. So we've launched a new API that allows you to bring client IDs into the system and read them or update them from another system. So in these scenarios where you have learners starting with you for the first time, you can bring in their data into the system from a system like a HubSpot or Salesforce, those CRM type systems, even gone as far as people who take an intake form that's just a form on their website that they want to bring that information right into CentralReach, have it process that information, and then move on from there. So then you can start building that client record from scratch, or taking updates from that where people are logging into a third-party area where they update their profile, maybe change their phone number, change their address, and that information slides into the system. So we've launched this. We've had a bunch of beta customers work through this with us. Probably around December was the first the launch of this, and this is up and running today. The documentation's out there and can be used in real time to update these things with those type of systems. The second scenario that we worked on, which is probably fitting for pretty much everyone who is running a business, a clinic, and any scenario from that, is your employee management system, right? The employee record needs to find its way into CentralReach so people can go about their business, gain access to the system. So in this scenario, the human capital management, or HCM is the acronym on the screen, we've seen a lot of folks want to integrate where they onboard people through, whether they're using a talent acquisition platform or they're just bringing them in through normal files when they start as an employee, and bring them through all the way into CentralReach, activating their employee ID, cross-referencing their human capital management employee ID with the created CentralReach ID. So you have that bi-directional flow back and forth, and you can update the employee along their journey. You can also pull that data out and update that. One of the scenarios that we've seen is a good amount of time when people depart the organization, they want to deactivate that individual within CentralReach. This will do that. So this allows the employee management record to be housed in a third-party system and automatically move over, update, make changes along the way. This scenario is very widely used within the beta group right now. And whether you use ADP, Paychex, Paycom, Paycor, Paylocity, all of those types of scenarios, this enables that connection with each of them. So it's a very simple way to automate that, which I almost guarantee you a lot of your HR organization is probably supporting you through that process along the way. So as we look at these two are in place today. What's coming next? So our next, I'm sorry, I apologize. So why APIs, right? From that standpoint, all of these API documents are supported, secure, and scalable. So by supported, we've well documented it. We have staff within the organization who can support your organization as you're doing it. Scalable, the infrastructure lives on its own dedicated environment and can move up and down very fast can take on all of those transactions that you're driving through and secure. It's built on the most secure leading technology out there now for you to move data. And in these are people's data, right? There's the learner data, there's the employee data coming through. So you have SPI data coming back and forth, and it's got to be secure. So each of those scenarios, this is why we're saying to everybody who wants to integrate within the application, use these next-gen APIs as we roll them out. The workflow, it will be supported, backwards compatible. The changes will be well documented in all of these scenarios. So there will be no change management for you to do once you implement these APIs, other than adding new features and functionality along the way. So then what's next? So from the API roadmap, we talked about what's on the release tier, the employees, the ability to convert a generic to an employee, the ability to add clients into the system. Next, coming in Q2 and Q3, we have a large list of the employment list, appointment list, employment cancellations, employee claim settings, updating your client pairs, which happens way more frequently along the way, and managing the labels, the contact labels across your organizations. And then as we step a little bit further out, we're looking at how do you do contact searches? How do you update custom fields or metadata within the application? How do you update and create client authorizations and manage tasks along the way? All these areas, this is the feedback we've gotten from the customers who we're talking to about where do you think you can extend the interoperability of your other systems within CentralReach. But I think, from my perspective, we always want to hear from our customers. How do you learn more, right? You can go out to our CentralReach website, right? You can complete the post survey, the post webinar survey. We'll follow up with you from that. You can contact your CSL, contact your account manager along the way. If you're a customer, if you're a prospect of ours, contact our account executives. Everybody's around here has been trained on that, but also some of this stuff is pretty technical. So along the way, we'll get you to the right people. We'll get that feedback and continue to grow and evolve. Again, our goal here is to cover the application with these APIs to allow you to automate the business things that change the way you do things, and also give you that ability to scale and grow with, super fast performance and a high level of security. Amber, any questions out there?
Yeah. So if a company wants to get started on building an API, what resources might they need?
Yes. So from a perspective of what you have internally within your staff, a lot of times the technical documentation that we have will lead you right down the right path of, if you have development staff internally, you can lean on them, show them the technical documentation, and they can basically tell you if they have that capability. On top of that, you will need some technology infrastructure to do the connections along the way. But then there's also third parties out there who support organizations to do this. So, as an example, we've got a preferred partner in Simple Fractal, who has built a lot of these for existing customers. You can reach out to them as well. So it's a little bit of, you can insource it or outsource it along the way, really depending on the capabilities that you have and the level of automation you want to go to.
Great, thank you. And then a lot of questions about if APIs will integrate with specific softwares. Can you talk a little bit about the ability for our APIs to work with other softwares?
Yeah, so we basically built the foundation of the API on an industry standard. So the API can integrate with many software. The devil is in the detail of what the software is, but individually, we've built it so you can go out there and connect these two together from that standpoint. So it really shouldn't be too hard to figure out, if I'm using Salesforce, how would I do the integration between that if you have the right folks with you from that? If Salesforce has APIs, we have these APIs, so they would connect if you were using a human capital management platform. A little bit of that conversation needs to be had and just looked at what the technical capabilities of both software parties are. But ours is in a JSON format, which is highly scalable and highly used by most SaaS providers from that standpoint. And if you can't, you could always bring it out to a batch file and move it in a batch process, or on a scheduled basis. But the technology that we used is known by many people and should be easily integrated with most softwares.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Clark.
Okay. All right. So the last slide here is going to be just diving into what's coming next. So real quick, this is a product announcement for those users out there. On June 6th, we are going to be making a workflow change to our login process. Will impact all of your users. Today, they log in with user, then password, and then they hit submit. On June 6th, they will hit user, submit, password, submit, just for general public service announcement. There will be a little bit. There's a lot of information out there to support your user population along the way. If you're interested in engaging and connecting with CR, we've got our Execs Connect session at Bellworks Chicagoland. Really cool building out there in the Chicago area. And also we'll be there hearing insights, talking, connecting with practice owners and things like that, and really just come out and engage with us. There's a QR code out there. In the bottom left, our CR Mobile. CR Mobile has really been a big focus for us, and we're really starting to drive CR Mobile with this AI boost. It's designed to help your clinicians save time, driving quality from enhancing summary quality along the way. So definitely please take a quick look at that and speak to us if you want to hear more. And then the last one is CR Unite. CR Unite, I've had the pleasure of being at CR Unite for the last 2 years, in San Diego 2 years back, and then New Orleans this year. That's coming in September, coming up in Los Angeles, downtown area. Great session, have hundreds of people coming out from RCM to clinicians to practice owners. Partners come out to these events. So please, if you can, mark your calendar now. A great spot to engage with CR, hear about the new things, and really just tell us about what we can do to support your organizations along the way. So thank you all for the 20 minutes or so. I hope you still have a little coffee left along the way. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. Speak to us about what you're looking for. Talk to us about those business needs you have, and we can work together, consulting our way through any of these automation projects that you have.
All right. Thank you, Clark, for sharing all that amazing information with us. Thank you, attendees, so much for your questions and your excitement. We're also very excited. This session was recorded. You'll all receive a link within an email in about 2 to 3 days. And just to close things out, there will be a very short survey that appears after the webinar. Please take a minute to answer those questions. It really helps us determine how successful these webinars are, what information you need in the future. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.